Hello folks. Well, we are going through Wyoming, the equality state, and unlike Cheyenne, the capital that we visited yesterday, today's destination is the complete opposite. This is a sleepy town, if nothing else. I think, except for maybe the ghost towns like Centralia, Pennsylvania, this is probably the smallest continually inhabited place we have gone so far in the coverage project. As you can see, Fort Laramie, Wyoming. 250 good people, and not 7, but 6 soreheads. I wonder what happened to the 7th sorehead. Well, rest in peace, 7th sorehead. Hopefully you didn't get clobbered too hard by the townsfolk. But yes, Fort Laramie, Wyoming, a very important historic town in the American West. It was here that many different trails, such as the Mormon Trail or the Oregon Trail, went past. So this is the North Platte River. Much like the South Platte River that we saw back in Denver, this river stems from the Rocky Mountains. The Rocky Mountains is a huge chain that spans several western states, but this North Platte River served as a guide for westward travelers. So in their nomadic lifestyle, going from primarily east to west, they followed this river all the way over there, probably past the Rockies. The many different trails that spanned along this river provided different means and purposes for the different types of people who encounter this river. Well, as much as I'd like to give you all a fun little tour of Fort Laramie, the historic town, I think we've pretty much covered it all. I mean, if you look at this view all across, this is pretty much the whole downtown Fort Laramie. Keep in mind, this is a very, very small town. 250 people. That's it. A hotel in a major city could fit more than all who live in this town. However, I can also probably argue that this is where the most authentic American culture lies. Yeah, it's very tough to live where there are few opportunities, few means of transportation outside the little local roads, where you maybe only have one gas station in front of you. That's it for the whole town. Maybe a couple shops here and there, one trading post, one restaurant, a few houses, a little neighborhood, and that's it. So I would definitely say this Fort Laramie is an example of a place in America where you can find that true Western grit, where the people are hardworking as ever, enterprising, making the most of the opportunities they have. And that, my friends, is the American spirit. Hi there. Ah, sarsaparilla. Truly an iconic drink of the western frontier. I'm gonna enjoy this. This is a hot day. Now, I can only assume, for the small town that we visited, Fort Laramie, it might have been a bit underwhelming. And I think I've really undersold what makes this location special. But not to worry, we are now here in Fort Laramie National Historic Site. Yes, completely different from the Fort Laramie that we see today, just the regular town. This is an actual significant historical area. This is where the magic happened. Fort Laramie was not just some ordinary trading post in the 1800s. Here in the northern plains, it was the trading post, considerably one of the most important trading posts in the country at the time of America's westward expansion. This site saw the transformation of the West from a mysterious hinterland inhabited by various native groups to a place which the Americans tamed for various people, traders, settlers, immigrants, military men, and now, of course, tourists. We're looking at the first of many buildings we'll be seeing throughout the rest of the day. This was a barracks, and true to its name, Fort Laramie, this did eventually turn into a U.S. military base to ensure that the people going westward would be safe from any dangers. These barracks ensured that the military people here could protect and supply the ever-growing number of frontier settlers here at Fort Laramie. Take a look at all these restored buildings. You can thank the National Park Service that in 1938 they made sure that the decaying buildings and the surroundings would be preserved for future generations to see this area's historical impact. So where does it all begin? Well, at first, none of these buildings were here. This was just a barren, high prairie inhabited by various plains tribes. The Arapaho, the Cheyenne, the Lakota, they all lived here. And then the first people from the east came along towards the west, fur trappers and traders, seeking riches from what they heard would bring them profit. And then in the 1840s, it wasn't just the people trying to strike it rich that came to this area of what is now Wyoming. Settlers and immigrants flooded the trails going west, seeking a better life for various reasons. Maybe it was the Mormons who came west for religious freedom and to escape from persecution on their way to the Great Salt Lake area in Utah. Or maybe it was the people along the Oregon Trail who were trying to find better economic livelihoods, hearing about the prosperous area that the Oregon country was. Or maybe throughout the various announcements of new gold rushes coming through in various places like Montana or the Black Hills, spurred many more people thinking that, hey, I should be a gold miner, try to strike it rich. As more and more people flooded this Wyoming countryside from various walks of life, different backgrounds, different reasons to come west, the US government needed to control and ensure the safety of these people coming westward. So of course, like I said, this was handed over to the government, purchased, and now this became a military fort, full of not only barracks, but with this area becoming a developing town in a way. This was actually the first settlement of Wyoming, if you want to count it as such. Businesses, shops opened up, post offices. We saw the post office at that one building far away, not really visible from here. But the point I'm trying to make is that this place became an ever important, just small little town, but served such a great purpose for America's westward expansion. So yeah, all these people in droves coming in, future Oregonians resting about a third of the way towards Oregon, gold miners stopping to get supplies on their way in all different directions, wherever the gold was, supposedly. Even the Pony Express used this area, Fort Laramie, for the good year or so that it was useful before the railroads took over. So all in all, Fort Laramie truly became the crossroads of an ever westward United States. There was a growing problem, though, in which this place, Fort Laramie, served a central role. So as the white Americans encroached upon the native lands, the natives got angry. They were like, hey, we want to live our life. Get out of here. Please let us live our normal life that we've been having for hundreds, if not thousands of years. But the white Americans were like, well, you know, there's gold here and there. We have good trading opportunities. We're getting rich as well. So, I don't know. And so a lot of tensions between the natives and white Americans took place, and Fort Laramie was the center of it all. I mean, lots of famous events in the native wars of the late 1800s, like Wounded Knee, for example, came as a result of the activity in Fort Laramie. You may be watching these videos and you'd be thinking, come on, Wyoming on the coverage project? Seriously? It's got the least population out of all 50 US states. Why are you wasting your time in Wyoming? Well, to that I say, well, look around us. This is one of the most authentic places for US culture, especially to learn about everything to do with the Western frontier, the Wild West, cowboy country, Native American disputes, the trails that are so famed and fabled in American history. All of this is found right here in this small little area of Wyoming. So maybe instead you should ask yourself, why wouldn't we take a long visit here to Wyoming? I mean, take a look at our surroundings. It's just this magical view. This is the American landscape we dare to visit. Anyone can go to New York, Los Angeles, Disney World, all those fun tourist locations in the US. But here on the Coverage Project, we do things differently. This is the America we want to see. The lands where legends are created. And legends are created, not born. But yeah, we end our day here in Fort Laramie National Historic Site. In my humble opinion, this is one of the foremost American bucket list destinations every person should visit if they want to learn about America. You will not learn about America and the beauty of its culture by going to those aforementioned places. You might go there for a fun little time, spend a lot of money, waste a lot of money, but you're not getting that iconic American experience you will here in Fort Laramie. So, I'm gonna end this off. This is kind of a long video for such a small little place, although it does encapsulate so much history, culture, the works. So I'll end it off here. Walking in the center of Fort Laramie National Historic Site, filled with such pure enthusiasm for what we've seen today. More travels to come. I will see you at the next location.